Welcome to our very first episode of 24/7 Laredo's podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Jerry Garza. Happy New Year to all of you and Feliz Navidad. We're lucky to have, of course, our good colleague, Juan Rodriguez, who's been with us for many years to do the podcast. And we have a candidate for county commissioner who's running for Webb County Judge. So we're going to talk to him in a few minutes. But I do want to let everybody know that we do the podcast because it is to provide an open dialogue on issues affecting Laredo in South Texas. We are an original, free, and independent news site that offers original content and possibly sometimes sharing of information from other newscasts. We try to give you as much information as you can without trying to put bias on any of the stories as best as we can. You can like us on Facebook and subscribe on us on YouTube. Chances are you're going to see much of our videos on YouTube, so I would suggest that you check it out. If you're knowledgeable, though, about politics, and you want to talk about political affairs and would like to participate as a guest in this podcast, feel free to contact us. We'll certainly put you on. If you're a candidate and you'd like to give us your message about why you're running for office, feel free to give us a call as well. We don't take any conspiracy theories or make personal attacks or hate, but we just want to have a good conversation about the issues of today. We are bilingual, right, Juan?
Así es.
Sometimes we go Spanish, sometimes we go English. So, I hope you understand both languages. Feel free to send us an email to 247laredo2021 at gmail.com and give us your thoughts on the show or whether or not you're interested in participating. Of course, like I mentioned to you, we've been doing this podcast since 2019 or so with Juan here, on and off, and of course this is 2026. It's a new year, Juan. You ready to go?
Yes.
Wonderful. Pues vamos a comenzar. Our first candidate of this episode, of course, is our county judge candidate, Jerry Garza. Welcome to the show.
Judge, thank you for having me, Juan. Good to see you as always.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and to everybody who's watching.
Yeah, well, thank you for making it. Now, how is the campaign coming along? You kind of announced it sometime back in October, November.
It was before that. It seems like light years ago, but no, we started the campaign in roughly in August, kind of talking to people, putting out some feelers on how a Jerry Garza campaign for judge would look like and how it would go. And back then the response was very good. And since then we've been building up the momentum and talking to people and going out there and talking to groups and it's going very well. The campaign has gone extremely well. And in fact, I probably think much better than I thought it would.
Okay.
And so, it's just a matter of talking to people and really just kind of talking about what the issues are.
You got to give a little bit of some respect to all your other candidates.
Absolutely.
Because it's not easy to run for office.
It is not.
And put your name out there.
It isn't. And you're scrutinized and instantly, people want to know what you're about. People want to know what you bring to the table. And you've got to be prepared for that because, we have a very smart electorate. The voters of this community are very smart, and they're going to be able to dissect common sense and real solutions from just a whole bunch of fluff and just regular talk. And so as a candidate, you've got to be prepared to answer those hard questions. And I think that's one of the things that we've been doing is being able to talk to people, but present not only what the problems are, but also present solutions to those problems.
Right.
Pues bien, Jerry, pues hemos visto que has estado trabajando intensamente, enfocado principalmente en lo que corresponde al condado de Webb, del que tú ya conoces mucho.
Así es.
Has transitado por varios senderos y pues conoces muy bien, tienes como dicen los gringos, la big picture, de lo que está sucediendo, lo que se requiere. Creo que has madurado más todavía en tu transitar. Has pasado por situaciones que, de acuerdo a las nuevas actualidades, circunstancias, te estás adecuando muy bien. La percepción que tienes ya es más amplia. Estuviste en 2 debates, hablando de preguntas incómodas o difíciles. Te centraste tú en lo que realmente significa tu campaña. ¿Nos puedes hablar de lo que la experiencia que ya tuviste a través de los años como periodista, como incluso comisionado, ahora con estas nuevas actualidades, estas nuevas circunstancias, este nuevo hoy, que desafortunadamente muchas veces se traducen en más necesidades para el condado. Tú tienes la visión amplia.
So, con la experiencia que uno tiene, esa experiencia te va a ayudar como juez.
Claro.
¿no?
Mira, lo importante es, nosotros tenemos que reconocer que la posición de juez del condado es una posición muy importante aquí en nuestra comunidad, en el condado de Webb. Como quien dice, es el administrador, el que maneja el presupuesto, obvio también con los 4 comisionados trabajando juntos para poder llevar a cabo los proyectos que se necesitan llevar a cabo aquí en nuestra comunidad. Pero la posición es muy importante y esta no es una posición donde podemos entrenar a alguien. Yo tengo la experiencia de haber estado como comisionado 8 años, 2 términos ahí, y me salí no porque alguien me ganó, salí para tratar otras oportunidades. Si hubiera seguido como comisionado ahí. Pero esa experiencia, ese conocimiento de cómo trabaja el condado, cómo se pasan cosas en la Corte de Comisionados, cómo se aprueban proyectos, cómo trabajar con el Estado, cómo trabajar con el gobierno federal, toda esa experiencia yo ya la tengo. Yo puedo entrar el primer día sabiendo cuáles son los proyectos que vamos a hacer y saber cómo vamos a llevar a cabo esos proyectos, trabajar con la Corte de Comisionados, que de hecho los conozco a todos. Ya hemos platicado tocante los diferentes problemas y las diferentes cosas del condado, y voy a poder entrar el primer día y saber cómo manejar todo ahí. No va a haber ningún, como dicen, learning curve, ¿verdad? No voy a tener que aprender nada porque eso ya lo aprendí. Ya lo he hecho.
De los otros
como dicen, been there, done that, ¿verdad?
Bueno.
Ya lo he hecho, ya estuve ahí, ya lo he hecho y voy a poder trabajar desde el primer día.
Es una ventaja, ¿no?
Claro.
With the fact that you've been there for 8 years, what projects did you do during those 8 years that you're very proud of?
And I wish we would have brought it. We have all of the proof in binders of things that we kept while I was in office. And I'm proud of a lot of different projects. But some of the ones that I come to mind is when I came into office. And Judge, you spent many years in the county as well. You knew that every time elections came around, when there was a change of administration, there was massive firings at the county. And that's wrong because at the time you're messing with people's livelihoods. You're talking about how they can provide for their families, and so immediately we said, look, this needs to stop, and we need to be able to protect our employees that they can work without fear of political retribution. And so immediately we worked on securing civil service for the county, making sure that all the employees in the county were protected from political retribution. So that was a big one, and it required quite a bit of work because we had to change the statute.
Well, yeah, you went to. I remember Richard Raymond played a big role in that.
He did.
In getting it.
He did. Our legislators played a huge role. So it wasn't just something we had to know how to go in and change the statutes to be able to get that done, and we did that. I'm very proud. Anybody who's ever picked up the phone and dialed 311 because they needed county or city services, that was a project I initiated in 2007. And that is the license for 311 is a county license, and this is where the city and the county have worked together to do that. I worked with the late Judge Oscar Martinez. We brought in the first pilot program that brought in online payment processing to try to make county services more convenient. And now it's standard, but Judge Martinez and I implemented the pilot project that started that in the county.
To pay the fines.
To pay the fines and to get business done in his JP office. So we were able to do that also. My office was the first office that applied for and administered a veterans grant, 2 veterans grants, one for rental assistance, one is for homeless prevention. That wasn't part of the economic development department. It was part of my office. We wrote it, we administered it. And so we helped a lot of veterans in that regard. One of the first things I did when I came into office is from an environmental perspective, we were one of the first court to set aside and preserve natural wetlands in southern Webb County for environmental purposes, and we were able to do that also. Yeah.
Wasn't that part of the North Central Park? Separate?
No, it was completely separate from that. But it was about 30 acres that we set aside, and it was beautiful wetlands. And says, look, this needs to be preserved so that people can go and enjoy these. And we did that. And even though it wasn't in my precinct, I recognize the importance that what we do needs to benefit all of the county. And I'll leave you at this also. Two more things that I'm very proud of. The other one was the Fernando Salinas Community Center. That was a joint project initiated by the county, initiated by me, where we worked in with the city to be able to get the Fernando Salinas Community Center, because there had been no community centers in the interior of the city. And then the last one was, the other thing was the Trauma and Park that we built off of International, collaboration with the school district and the city, where people were able to go and enjoy that park as well. So those are just a few of the things that in my tenure as commissioner that we worked on.
Después de todo eso que has logrado, ¿qué otros proyectos tan necesarios como esos en ese tiempo eran necesarios ahora? ¿Cuáles son los necesarios de esta realidad nueva?
Siempre vamos a necesitar trabajar en nuestra infraestructura.
¿En qué
Cuando en el 2010 y el 2011 empezamos todo el trabajo, todos los estudios para lo que se está desarrollando ahorita en el loop. Todo lo que se está viendo ahorita en el loop, todo lo que se está ampliando ahí, todo lo que se está construyendo, todo eso se empezó en el 2010, el 2011. Parte de nuestra corte ahí de comisionados. Ahora vemos los frutos de todo ese trabajo. Eso se tiene que seguir porque el condado sigue creciendo y nosotros tenemos muchos caminos dentro del condado que se necesitan mejorar, que se necesitan desarrollar también, porque en desarrollar toda nuestra infraestructura de caminos podemos empezar el crecimiento fuera de la área de Laredo. Nosotros hemos visto en otros condados, en el condado de Bexar, en el condado de Travis, las comunidades que se han desarrollado, comunidades hermosas en esos condados, donde gente sale a vivir en esas áreas, que no tienen que pagar impuestos de la ciudad, no tienen que pagar impuestos de otras entidades, ¿verdad? Nomás impuestos del condado, impuestos de las escuelas, y ya lo demás no lo tienen que pagar, ¿verdad? So, para esas comunidades es muy atractivo para mucha gente ir a vivir fuera de la ciudad. Eso es una de las cosas que yo quiero traer al condado. También en cuestión de agua. Nosotros también tenemos que ver la infraestructura de nuestra agua, desarrollar más la planta de tratamiento de agua que tenemos en Río Bravo, expandir esos servicios, porque nosotros sabemos que mucho del crecimiento va a ir hacia el sur. Esperamos si el puente 4 o 5 se lleva a cabo ahí, y nosotros pensamos que si se va a construir ese puente, va a haber mucho crecimiento en esa área. Nosotros tenemos que estar listos para el crecimiento, para poder desarrollar toda esa área en la manera que se debe de desarrollar y crecer. Eso es parte, pero también la calidad de vida. Nosotros necesitamos mejorar la calidad de vida, mejor empleos que pagan mejor, con beneficios, para que nuestra gente salgamos de la pobreza. Nosotros tenemos todavía 35-40% de pobreza en el condado.
About 35%.
35%. Y no hemos bajado de ese porcentaje en años.
1980s.
Y somos el puerto número uno. We're the number one port.
Yes.
But we have the highest poverty rate.
Well, if we can talk about it now, what are the pressing issues for Webb County? As you just mentioned, obviously expansion of the highways, expansion of facilities, businesses and infrastructure for Webb County, which means there's more expenses for the public. The budget keeps growing bigger, more employees, and so on and so on. The question is there any potential relief coming under your administration on the issue of tax relief or tax appraisals. What exactly, where do you see the taxpayers in this issue the next 4 years?
Yeah, we've put out a 10-point plan of the areas that we want to target. Number one on that plan is addressing some type of property tax relief. And what a lot of people aren't aware of, state statute, the law allows counties and cities to go in and put in a homestead exemption. And a lot of counties and a lot of cities don't do it. So I think it's time for Webb County to go in and put in a homestead exemption. And what does that mean to the people watching?
Well, people who are paying taxes understand what a homestead exemption is.
So
Tell us.
what that means is that we're going to give you an additional tax relief at that point of exempting a certain value of your house from county taxes. And the statute allows us to go up to 20%. And so I think that we need to be put in a position where we begin planning how we are going to begin to implement this and phase in an exemption so that instead of taking money out of people's wallets, we're putting it back in.
Well, that's the whole point, because the governor, and I understand even Representative Rich Raymond has said that they're going to be pushing for a no tax on your homestead. And so my question to you is that, is there a move in the county? Do you foresee yourself in the future, the county, that the homestead amount will be increased at a higher amount than what it is right now? Which is easier for the taxpayers out there, and rely on some other ways.
And I would welcome any option that the state would put together to see how we can, wean off this dependence on property taxes. Look, property taxes. I have always said this. Are they're not regressive, they're suppressive, because they suppress a person's ability to be able to own something and sometimes keep it. We hear in the news. It's ridiculous to tax on unrealized gains. Well, that's exactly what we're doing here, is we're taxing people on unrealized gains on their home. Just because somebody bought a home at $100,000, 20 years ago, today it's worth $600. Why are they having to pay on that amount? And
they've been paying that amount.
But salaries don't
year.
go up. But salaries don't go up.
Yeah.
And opportunity doesn't also necessarily go up, and that's just wrong. And so if we have the ability to be able to go in and help out with what the state allows us to do as counties, then I think it's incumbent upon for us to do that.
If that's the case, then would you be looking for other types of income to come in for the county to be able to pay for all the expenses that come in?
Well, I think we have to do what everybody else does, is adjust our spending to what is coming in. Everybody who's watching, if they're making a set amount of salary every year, that's all they can spend. And I think that we've got to do the same. We've got to, and if anything, I think we've got to set the example in knowing how to be able to live within our means and do the things that we need to. But the other thing is get creative as well and look for, funding and grants and things of that nature that is going to take the burden away from
all you have to
residents.
do is look at the city of Laredo. They've become very creative when it comes to taxes, and so they've got a lot of different ways of collecting money from.
Well, I think we need to become creative at tax relief.
Yeah.
I think we got to look at it from the other side. And Judge, where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right.
And I think that we've got to be able to get creative on how we can find tax relief for our residents.
Yes. You have any other questions?
That could be possible. How's going to be doing that? I mean, do you think that so many ways to?
Well, the exemption is the first way of doing it. You talk about an exemption, and we can get that to on a $200,000 home.
Yes.
A 10% exemption is going to exempt 200,000 or 20,000 of that amount. So I mean that translates to a couple $1,000s that people don't have to pay in taxes. We can adjust our budget, we can adjust ourselves if it means being able to put that money back into people's households.
Definitely. What we're going to do at this time, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back and continue with our conversation with our county judge candidate, Jerry Garza.
My name is Joaquin Rodriguez, and I'm running to be your next 111th District Court Judge. I was raised right here in Laredo, in the Ghost Town neighborhood, not in a political family and not with generational wealth. I grew up like most families here do, learning early that nothing is given and everything is earned. I'm a proud product of the Laredo Independent School District and a graduate of Nixon High School. I worked my way through college and went on to Texas Tech University School of Law, always knowing that I wanted to come back home and serve the community that shaped me. I met the love of my life in high school and I married my high school sweetheart. And today, I'm most proud of being a husband and a father to my son. Being a family man keeps me grounded and reminds me who the justice system is really for. Professionally, I spent years as a prosecutor, including in the Special Victims Unit, standing up for children and victims of violent crime. Today, I serve as the first assistant city attorney for the city of Laredo. I'm Joaquin Rodriguez, and I respectfully ask for your vote.
Welcome back to the show. We have Jerry Garza, of course, as our guest, with Juan Rodriguez here from GR Noticias, who's here to ask other questions of him. It seems to me that the water issue was one of the issues that seems to be being discussed a lot. What's the problem with that issue, and what is the solution as best as you can figure out?
Well, the water issue is obviously that's our survival. I mean that becomes a situation that we need to address, because I think we've had way too many scares on the Rio Grande, and making sure that all our eggs aren't in that one basket, right? Because I mean we saw what happened many years ago where the Rio Grande stopped flowing into the Gulf of Mexico.
It did,
and we've seen that
didn't connect.
It just didn't connect. We see the levels of Falcon Dam. We've seen the levels at Amistad Dam. We've seen, many of the other reservoirs across the state of Texas. And so no one is immune to it. And we all know how hot it is here. We know that we go through extensive droughts. And so secondary water is important. How many boil water notices have we been through just in the last 5 years? We've been through many of them in the city of Laredo. And it's cost businesses tens of thousands of dollars. It's cost homeowners a tremendous amount of money and inconvenience also. And so we know what it's like to go, and that's not that we went without water. It's just that we had to go and boil the water and go and buy water out there. So it gets expensive also. But this is something that not one entity is going to be able to fix on their own. This is going to take a collaborative effort and people coming together to be able to resolve this problem. Now, I want to tell people about there is solutions out there, and there have been steps taken to try to identify water. I will say that back in 2010, 2011, the county went out and we identified water, underground water on county school lands. Now, county school lands, the county is the trustee for school lands, and the school districts are the beneficiary of that.
How much land are you talking about?
Judge, I can't remember right off the top of my head, but it is a significant amount of land that county has as trustees for the school districts. And what that means in a nutshell is anything that's made off of that, money-wise, has to go to the school districts. Right. County gets absolutely nothing.
That's by state constitution.
That's by constitution. That's by state constitution. And so we said, well, if we can find water there, if we can extract that water and sell it either for agricultural use or for use for the city or anybody else that we can sell it to, all of that money, all of it would go to the school district. What a windfall that would be for the school district. And who knows, maybe it could be so much that it could even offset some of the property taxes that the school districts would have to pay. And it goes to all, UISD, LISD, Webb Consolidated is where it would go. The issue became the infrastructure, the cost of being able to transport that water, the infrastructure, the pipes, everything to transport. It was an extremely expensive endeavor, well more than what the county could come back and say. And so we needed to go back to this. We went to the school district to say, hey, let us recoup the investment. We'll put up the money. we'll recoup the investment from that, and then everything else is going to be yours. The problem was that the state statute didn't allow us to do that, or the Constitution needed to be changed to be able to do that. And at that point, I know I was towards the end of my term, and I had already stepped down from county at that point. And so the legislature wasn't able to take action on being able to allow that. And I would imagine that after that, the plan got shelved. My point is this. The study we did identified viability for over 100 years of water taking in growth, and the water only needed minimal treatment.
And so underground
water in the aquifer up in northwestern Webb County,
yes.
Where we have school lands. So it's a win-win. My concern a lot of times is private investment coming in and doing it for profit and not necessarily having the community's best interests at heart. We saw what happened when the city privatized the water utilities. That did not end well.
No.
Because it was private interest over public interest. And so this is something that I think needs to be left out of the hands of private, 100%. But the public entities need to be involved.
I think so. Go ahead.
So you're saying that there is a second water resource up on Peñitas, or where is it at?
It is off of Highway 44.
Okay.
In northwestern
It's
Webb
still
County.
Webb County.
It's still county lands. It's still in Webb County. It's Webb
So
County school
why
lands.
they didn't even did something about it? I mean, you found this new water source, and what happened? Nobody was moving.
Well, no, I know
a
that
single finger.
in the 2000s, when County Judge Mercurio Martinez was judge,
2000.
he said that he wanted to create a weir.
A low-level weir.
26 years ago.
Yes, that was 20 years ago. Since then, there's been no activity that I know of any other county judge coming back to talk about this issue.
Yeah. And I will say this. I know there's been other moves to try to identify water. I know there's some private groups that I think may have been working on it. Obviously you have to come up to speed on what exactly is occurring today. Obviously I haven't been in office for many years, so I don't know exactly what is happening right now, but I will say this is we know the water's there. I think that's huge,
That's
right?
why nobody
Now the next step is how do we pay to get it here? How do we pay for this, to get it out, pull it out? So at that point, then we've got to be able to either work with our legislative partners to change the laws to be able to allow us to
retrieve,
to reimburse ourselves for the expense, or find grants and federal funding to be able to pay for that, or we take that to the voters to say, hey, do you want to be able to allow us to bond out, borrow money to be able to do this? But I think there's a variety of options on the table. And I will say this, that those options will be explored as soon as we get into office.
So,
well, that seems like it's going to be a major project if we do that.
And I will say this one more thing, is you're talking about the weir. The weir issue came back in 2008, and there was money allocated for a study as well. And a weir is just basically a low-level dam that they were wanting to do up
right next to
up the river,
the Rio Grande,
north of the Columbia River,
right.
or Columbia Bridge, and that was just a low-level dam to capture some water and use it for recreation, use it for whatever. But at least we knew that we would have, in case of emergency, water to be able to tap into in case we needed it.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be something that the next administration, whoever takes over, will be looking at. It's going to be major.
It is.
Definitely going to be major.
And like I said, I come back to the same thing. This is not a county-only problem. This is not only a city problem. This is something that we all have to work on. And I will say one more thing about water, Judge. The one thing that the county judge and the commissioners can focus on, again, is expanding the water treatment plant that we have in Rio Bravo, expanding the services there, being able to capture more. Look, the county just finished buying 500,000 acres of water to be able to be prepared for the growth. That's the kind of proactiveness that we need to be able to continue that, and to be able to make sure that we're buying the water rights that we need as well in the interim, so that if, as we're working on that today, and we look at the long-term solution for water, that those two things come together at one point, which also ties into my Webb Succeeds 2050 initiative. We have to plan the next 25 years of the county. And I will say this, the county, I think, has done a very good job of planning, but I think we need to take probably a little bit more of a holistic across the entire area, incorporating our regional partners, so that we can be ready for the next 25 years.
Well, you certainly give us a lot of information for us to consider looking at. Of course,
we can go longer.
I know we can go on. I'm ready. Yeah. The county, I know, has over $100 million or so in reserve, and they already talk about that. That's something that needs to be discussed, because I don't understand why there's so much, but I'm sure there is an explanation. A county commission will sit down here and explain to me why we have so much that shouldn't be returned yet to the public. But having said that, last question that I want people to understand. If people are going to go vote, what is it the last thing that you want people to think about before they vote for this race, as you're going to go vote? And they're talking about you.
I want them to think how consequential this election is going to be, and how much is at stake here over the next several years, and the fact that the person who is in office needs to have the ability and the knowledge and the experience of what it's like to sit up in that dais and working with the rest of the Commissioners Court to get the issues of the county solved. I served there for 8 years. This is not a position for on-the-job training. This is a position you wouldn't put in a rookie as a head coach and expect a championship in the first year. Yeah. It just doesn't happen. And so coming in there, you want somebody who knows how to take the reins and work with the commissioners to get stuff done. And I bring that to the table. On top of that, I've spent my career in public service. At the TV station, Juan, you and I worked many years together there at KGNS. Working also as county commissioner. One of the things I like when people say, you're very approachable. You can relate to us, and I think that's true. You know what? I wake up in the morning. I got to go to work just like everybody else. I gotta earn a paycheck, and I gotta take care of my family just like everybody else. And what I tell everybody is, if I can make Webb succeed for everybody else's family, I make it succeed for mine too. And that's what I want people.
Which goes to your logo.
Yeah, which comes back to the whole campaign has been about your family, your finances, and your future, and it's very simple. So that's what that means. And so when people go to the polls and they're thinking, who am I going to vote for? Am I going to vote for Jerry Garza or any of these other people? I hope they think about that, because that's where I can make a difference for the community. In that, from day one, we're going to be tackling the issues and the problems of our community. And we haven't even talked about economic development. We haven't even talked about all that other stuff. And I have a whole plan for that. That's a whole another 40 minutes.
That'll be next time.
That'll be next time. But you'll see dramatic initiatives and push to get stuff done. And it's not to suggest that there isn't been anything done. But the other thing I tell people is, I think we all need to expect more. And even once you think that things are really good, I think we've got to push ourselves to expect even more after that.
It's for the next generation, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Juan, is there anything else you'd like to ask?
No, muchas gracias a Jerry Garza, que nos aceptó su participación, que no es para decirles que pues estamos agradecidos y como lo dice usted, está abierto a cualquier candidato que
cualquier candidato que quiera.
And these are very important. Todos estos es muy importante, porque la gente tiene que ver los diferentes candidatos, de lo que estamos platicando. Exacto. De lo que es muy importante de nosotros. ¿Quién es la persona? Sí. Porque esa persona va a estar en ese puesto de mínimo 4 años.
Correcto.
Y tiene que ser la persona adecuada para la posición.
Y lo importante es que este podcast es completamente bilingüe, es el único que podemos ver que sea.
Correcto. Yo sé que a unas personas no les va a gustar eso porque no entienden un idioma al otro, y entiendo
sus
eso.
Amigos, ¿verdad?
Unos amigos, sí. Dependiendo de dónde vives, del norte, del sur o el oeste.
Así
No sé, pero I do want to thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you again on this issue. There's a lot of issues to talk about, and I wish you well as I would wish all of them well, because at the end of the day, if we keep doing discussions like this, at the end of the day, the public wins out. Because we get to know what the issues are, and we get to finally choose a person who understands the problem and is able to give us the leadership.
Just like they say, competition is good for the consumer. It's good for the voter too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you again
Appreciate it.
later
Thank you.
time. Thank you, folks, for watching. And Juan, of course, you can watch Juan at GR Noticias on Facebook whenever you get a chance. He's got very
That's
good
right.
stories on there on a daily basis. And on behalf of 24/7 Laredo, thank you for watching. We'll see you in a few more days with another podcast. Thank you.